And welcome to this yoga flow. I'm just making sure my mic is on, in which we will focus on alignment within our postures. So we'll move into postures and then we'll spend slightly longer there as opposed to just flowing through so that we can tune into our alignment and how that feels within our body, as well as anything that comes up in response to that. So when you are ready, I invite you to begin in a child's pose, bringing the big toes together and the knees wide. Gently guiding those hips back over the heels as we allow the hands to reach forward, reaching actively through the fingertips, or resting the forehead on the mat or a block. And if you need a little moment here to transition from your day into your yoga space, perhaps a little sway across the forehead as you rock side to side on the hips will feel good. With every sway, starting to lengthen your breath, almost like a mindful walking down the stairs from your mind and into your body. Eventually find some stillness in this child's pose as you rest. Noticing the parts of your body that are connected with the earth as you press through the palms of the hands, the knees, the shins, the tops of the feet. Feel that active engagement through the muscles here. Beautiful. Release that engagement off as you take a deep breath, filling up the back of the body, sending that breath into the rib cage. Feeling the back body lift up towards the sky, and then exhale, sigh it out through the mouth. Feel the front of the body sink and melt down towards the earth. Again, breathing in, feel that back body lift and expand up and out. Exhale, sink, melt, soften down. Beautiful. One more round. Big, energizing breath in. And then exhale, sink and melt. Okay, from here, mindfully unraveling one vertebra at a time into your tabletop position, coming to hands and knees here. Again, mindfully pressing through the palms of the hands, the kneecaps, the shins, and the tops of the feet as we turn on the abdominal region, feeling that core connection, tucking the chin slightly to lengthen the back of the neck here, and then breathe in, expand up, out, down. Breathe out, think about drawing everything into midline as we draw navel towards spine, lift pelvic floor, and think about the hip bones moving towards each other. Beautiful. Again, breathe in, take up space, expand in every direction. Breathe out, hug it all into midline. Okay, and from here, yogis will find a cow shape as we burst the heart through the shoulders, scoop the tailbone to sky, breathe it in. And then breathe it out as we press into the earth with the hands, tuck the tailbone round into chest. 2 more times here. Maybe even close your eyes to really absorb the physical felt sensation of this movement in your body. And then from there, finding that neutral tabletop position as we tuck the toes, press into the hands and send those hips up and back into your downward facing dog. And once you arrive there, feel free to bend deeply through one knee and the other, pedaling those feet. Allow the hips to sway from side to side, almost like your body here is Play-Doh and you're gently molding it into the shape that is Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Eventually find your expression of this pose in stillness and take a big breath in, finding that expansion in every direction. And then as you breathe out, press firmly into the mat with the hands and the feet, almost like we're trying to pull the mat apart here. So we're pushing the hands away from the feet, stretching the mat lengthways, noticing which parts of the body this action turns on, this pushing and pulling action. Nice. And now let's do the opposite. So now think about trying to draw your hands and feet towards each other, like you're trying to put a little divot in the middle of your mat. Notice which muscle groups come online now. And then can you find a balance, a bit of a happy medium between those two places? pressing hands and feet into the earth, lifting up and out of the shoulders. Lovely. And then pushing through the balls of the feet, let's unravel now into a plank pose, finding your high plank. And if this is a bit too intensive, you are welcome here to drop those knees. Finding that plank and then making sure here that we have those fingers spread. So we're increasing the surface area and taking a little bit of that heat off the wrists. We've got a tiny micro bend in our shoulders, our elbows here, just so that we're not locking out those joints and we're instead relying on the musculature of the arms to hold us. We're stacking the shoulders over the elbows and the wrists. And then we're lengthening the crown of the head forward, the tailbone and the heels back, and finding a slight rounding in the lower back as we draw lower ribs towards hips. Feel that abdominal center turn on. Beautiful. Take one more deep breath here. And then breathe it out. Send those hips up and back, downward facing dog. Really nice. Again, let's inhale and unravel through to our high plank. And then this time lower all the way down onto the floor. So let those elbows brush the body as you come all the way onto your belly. And then we'll find a cobra pose. So hands are alongside the ribs here. Our elbows are tucked in, nice and tight to our body. And then we're going to press into the hands as we think about drawing the shoulder blades towards each other here and lift the body up into our cobra. So we've got a slight activation of the glutes here, but most of the strength in this pose is in our back. Drawing those shoulder blades towards each other. Maybe even lifting those hands off to hover as we hug the elbows and feel the strength of the back here. And then return the hands, maybe lifting the hips up now into your upward facing dog. And if you're here, we're dragging those fingertips back, allowing that heart to burst through the chest. Perhaps lifting the gaze halfway or all the way up to the sky, getting that full body stretch. Beautiful. And then pressing into the hands as we come back to that plank pose shape, tops of the feet on the floor if you can. And then keep thinking about lower ribs towards hips. So we're shortening that space in the abdominal cavity as we come back to our downward facing dog. Well done, yogis. It takes a lot of strength. Coming to the front of your mat from here. So tiptoe step or hop the feet towards the hands, finding an uttanasana forward fold. So feet are about hip distance apart. And here we can sway side to side. Perhaps you want to hold opposite elbows, allowing the head to hang heavy like a bowling ball here. And then just finding some stillness as you feel that length in the back of the legs. And you're welcome here, yogis, to bend your knees as much as you need. The intention is for a stretch along the back body, right up the calves and the hamstrings. And if you get that with very bent knees, then you are doing the yoga. It's not about folding yourself in half. It's about experiencing the sensations, noticing what arises in response to them, and then moving forward with compassion. Okay, from here, let's find a halfway lift. Feel free to bring your hands to blocks here or to your shins as you inhale. And let's just pause here for a moment. First, we want to check in with the knees and make sure we're not locking them out. So we've got that little micro bend in the knees happening. We're again focusing on shortening the distance between the bottom ribs and the hips. So we're kind of drawing the abdominal region in. And then we want to think about our shoulder blades. So think about actively drawing the shoulder blades towards each other here to turn on the muscles of the back. This should be quite an active pose, but we tend to just rush through it a lot of the time. So here, let's really turn on the back muscles by drawing the shoulder blades towards each other, lengthening through the crown of the head. Breathe it in. And then breathe it out as you fold. Really nice. Let's try that one more time. See if you can hit that active halfway lift straight away. And then exhale, fold. Let the head hang heavy like a bowling ball. Beautiful. Come all the way up to standing now. Arms rise above the head as we breathe in. Gaze can lift. And then exhale, hands through to heart center. Okay, let's find a Tadasana mountain pose here. And I'm just going to turn to face you for this. So again, we're going about hip distance with the feet. And you can start with the feet and build up in this pose. So with the feet, with our anchors, we want to spread and then ground the toes into the earth. Perhaps lift the right heel and think about drawing it back, and then lift the left and do the same thing. So again, we're really spreading across our base, creating that nice big surface area. And then slight micro bend in the knees, finding that neutral alignment of the pelvis. So we're neither tucked nor anterior tilting as we scoop forward. We're just in the middle. And then rolling shoulders up and back. So we've got that openness in the chest, palms forward. Slight tuck of the chin as we lengthen through the crown of the head, standing strong and tall and proud here. Notice, does this feel familiar to you, or do you feel really out of place as you stand like this? This is how our bodies should stand when we are in alignment, but we are so often carrying a baby on a hip, or punching and running forward over a phone, or leaning to one side just because it feels weird to stand straight, and all of a sudden we go all skew with. So let's remind ourselves what it's like to stand strong and tall here as we breathe in, breathe out and sigh it through the mouth. Really nice. And then inhale, bringing the arms up, gaze can lift. Breathe out, coming through that forward fold, swan diving forward. Inhale here as you halfway lift. And then exhale, let's step the left foot back behind us, coming to a low lunge. Now you may like to bring your hands to blocks here and keep your body relatively upright. We do want to aim for that length in the spine. So if you find that you're rounding here with your hands on the floor, definitely bring those blocks into play. Okay, so here with the right foot in front, we're making sure that our ankle and our knee are stacked. So we want that parallel straight line with our shin. If you have that knee slightly forward of the toes, just consciously draw that back here. And then again, focus on the hip. So drawing everything back from the hip, as I say in all my classes. Then grounding through the foot into the earth, noticing how that turns on the hamstring and the glutes. Awareness now to the back foot. Finding that sense of buoyancy by pressing through the ball of the back foot, maybe sending a couple of ripples back and forth as you rock through this runner's lunge here. Really nice. And then we'll drop that back knee as we inhale and raise the arms up. Gaze can lift here, just making sure shoulders are down, feeling that openness, that deep stretch in at the front of the body, particularly that hip flexor. Beautiful. And then hands can come again to blocks or the floor, and we'll draw the hips back. Toes can lift towards face as we come into a little half hamstring stretch here. So in this pose, we want to focus on drawing, in particular, the pinky toe towards us as we ground that foot into the earth, activating the back of that hamstring. Stay here, or maybe you'd like to bring the weight into the left hand as you open the right arm up, finding a twist in the back. And again, focus on shoulder blades here. Think about shoulder blades connecting. Gaze can be up at the hand if it feels okay for the neck. Notice how this feels in the body. And then return that hand down, bend through that front knee. Let's tuck the back toes, lift that back knee, and come back again to the front of our mat, finding that forward fold. And then ground to rise, big breath in, arms above head. And fold all the way back down, finding that Uttanasana. Inhale here as we halfway lift. And this time we'll send the right foot back in space, finding that low lunge once again. So remember the stacking of the ankle and the knee, the drawing back in space with that hip, and then the grounding through that back foot, the back ball of the foot, to find that stability. Beautiful. Then we can drop that back knee, swoop those hands up. Think about lifting the torso all the way from the hip joint here, maintaining that length, perhaps lifting the gaze as we gently draw tummy button into spine. Does this feel different to the first side? What is the story your body is telling you here? Beautiful. And then allow those hands to find your blocks or the earth. Draw the hips back, toes to face. Again, think about that pinky toe in particular coming forward. Find that length in your spine. And then stay here, or right hand down as you open that left wing up. Feel that shoulder blade melt down towards the other one. Gaze can lift. Notice what you see, what you hear. And then return the hand down. This time, let's head back to our downward facing dog. Once again, pedal it out. Beautiful, everybody. Okay. This time, let's walk the hands back to meet the feet. So we're finding that Uttanasana fold at the back of our space. And then coming up through a neutral spine, so hinging at those hips to come to standing. Shaking out through the legs. And we'll find a Vrikshasana, tree pose. Now, if you'd like an extra challenge, you could practice balancing on a block. If you want to go the other way and you need some extra support, then perhaps come to a wall and have that handy to catch you. Okay, let's again establish this pose from the ground up. So find that spreading of the toes, that grounding through the feet. Tiny micro bend in that knee so we're not locking it out. And then really importantly here, we want to focus on this hip. So we don't want that hip going out to the side like we're about to do Saturday Night Fever. Instead, we want to hug it in, really engage that outer glute, that gluteus medius muscle here. And then find that center, find that drawing in of the navel before we choose our option with our other leg. So find where works for you today. We want to avoid the knee. They're amazing joints, but they're not meant to go sideways, so let's not encourage that. And then can we mindfully here connect the palms of the hands and the fingertips as we take our gaze up and out in front of us, finding that drishti, that focus. Imagining a column of light that comes from the skies into the crown of your head, travels down the central channel of your body, and then down into the floor, driving down into the very center of the earth. Earth below you, sky above you. You are a channel. Find that breath here. And then can you mindfully transition out of this pose? So just as we did come into it, can we release the hands, release the foot, control the lowering down of it, and then maybe give that supporting leg a shake out. Really nice. And then second side, approach this like it's a brand new move, a brand new body, a brand new side. Like you're doing this pose for the first ever time. Allow it to be received by you, every single part of it. Stack the muscles of the leg, hug that hip in, find your center, and then take that second option, that second side. Option this time, if you would like to take a reverse prayer, we can either hold our elbows or maybe connect our palms together behind our back if that range of motion is there. Notice how different this feels to the prayer hands in front of the body. Which muscles is this engaging? Where are we more open? Where are we more tight? And as we become mindful of these sensations, we're not passing judgment. We're not criticizing ourselves or celebrating ourselves. We're simply noticing, knowing that, yes, these stories and these experiences are here, but they come and they go, and we are so much more than that. Beautiful. Finding that mindful transition out of the pose when you're ready, shaking it all out. Okay, let's take one more here before we come down to the floor. We're going to find a warrior three. So bring the right foot forward. Take the left foot back just onto the toes. And again, you might actually like to have your blocks handy for balance here. We're going to bend the front leg for this version. And again, activate those muscles, thinking about stacking ankle, knee, hip. And then let's tilt that upper body forward as we hinge the body and lift that base leg, that left leg, sorry. The base leg is our support. We're grounding through that foot, slight micro bend in the knee. And then with the leg that's lifted, we want to rotate pinky toe to floor. So we've got that internal rotation of the hip here. Length through the spine as we again shorten the space between the ribs and the hips, activating that core. Find that drishti, that focus, and then stay here, or maybe you can bring your hands into prayer, or perhaps reach back through the ring fingers as you again activate the shoulder blades here in your warrior three. Allow the wobbling, allow the shakes. Let that be part of your experience, knowing that you're safe. The worst that can happen is you'll fall out of the pose, and that is all good. We can practice yoga as we are compassionate with ourselves and re-entering the pose. Beautiful. Bring the hands back to the blocks. Return that foot to the floor, shake it out, come back to standing when you're ready. And then setting up for the second side. So take that right foot behind you, just lightly placing it on the toe, most of the weight in this left leg. Slight bend as we stack the musculature and then hinge the body forward, letting that right leg lift up behind us. Hands to blocks or floor as we internally rotate, think pinky toe to floor. Shorten the space between the ribs and the hips, and then maybe we're lifting up and in to our balance here. Find the breath. Find the focus. Notice the sensations in the body. You're alive. You have a body that works for you. Enjoy feeling that happen. Ooh, and then release it down. Shake that out. Amazing, yogis. Okay, from here, we'll just simply drop down into our tabletop position once again. Perhaps sway out through those hips. And then come to a cross-legged seat. Crossing the kind of lower shin area so that we're finding a Sukhasana easy pose. We sort of want to line up our feet and our knees so that they're stacked. Again, a block under you might be helpful here. Flexing now through the feet as we press the outsides of the feet into the earth, activating those hip muscles. And then stay here, or if it's there for you, hinging forward, trying to maintain the connection of the sit bones with the earth here. Noticing how as we press our palms into the earth and gently guide the pelvis down, we activate that stretch a little more. Finding that space for you, that balance where you can feel sensation, but you can still breathe deeply. Your body knows it's safe. Being with the sensations, with your breath. And on your next inhale, gently lift the body up. Find that mindful transition to the other side as we switch the cross of the legs. Finding that inhale, that length through the spine, pressing into the floor with the outer feet, and then possibly hinging forward. Feeling the connection of the sit bones with the earth. Bowing the head in reverence for your body, for this practice, and for this time that you've carved out. Allowing the breath to be smooth and slow. And then on your next inhale, gently lifting your spine, taking any final poses or shakes or movements here that your body is asking for. And then when you are ready, guiding one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly, taking a deep breath in. sighing it out through the mouth and closing your hands in prayer. Thank you for joining me for this mindful awareness yoga class. I hope you can carry some of this physical sense of being in your amazing body into the rest of your day. And I will see you again soon.